I would normally do a lot longer, but as I say, we've got 12 acts on tonight, so we've got to get through it. And when they come on, give loads of love, because the more love you give, the funnier they'll be, and the more our lives will be enhanced. It is my great pleasure to introduce this man, the most charming man in the world, go wild and crazy, Mr. Dave Allen!
Good evening, everyone.
Hey.
Hey.
Do you ever worry when people say the most charming man, that they're really saying you're not something else? Don't like all this. Are you Mark? I don't like all the attention this guy's getting, so I'm going to try and draw your attention into me. Now look guys, I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for coming. I apologise for being a bit dishevelled. I've just come straight from the airport. Right? I do a lot of travel in my job, and I don't know if any of you guys do a lot of travel. It's really, really stressful, especially if you're on the larger side. And you probably can't see, I am carrying a little holiday weight. And particularly, economy class airline travel is murder if you're on the larger side. And it's not really so much that I'm very uncomfortable in the seats, you know, although it is a one-cheek experience, typically. It's more that I'm overflowing on the person next to me. Not in the biblical sense, but, you know, just, you know what I mean. It used to really put me off travel. I used to hate economy class airline travel because I was so embarrassed about this. But now I've started to enjoy it and actually turn it into a game. I always book a seat right at the back. And I walk slowly down the plane, because that's the only way I can walk. And when I see the fear in the whites of someone's eyes, I think that I'm going to sit next to them. And then just as I see the extreme shock, I just roll on by. Typically, I get 9 or 10 of these moments of joy before I get to the back of the plane. But then it's the pièce de résistance. There's the person I know I'm going to be sitting next to. And I'm walking towards them, and slowly the realization dawns on them. There's nowhere else for him to go. There's nowhere else for me to go. I'm at the back of the plane. They won't let me sit all the way in the toilet. I'm going to have to sit next to this guy. I tell you, it's a moment of great pleasure. But as soon as I sit down, the roles are reversed again, and I become the victim. I don't know if many of you travel on BA planes, but typically I have to use an extension seatbelt. The colour of seatbelts on BA planes, dark blue. The colour of extension seatbelts, bright orange. Thank you, British Airways. But you know, the worst thing is, I always try and get it secretly and kind of palm it off, but they insist on giving it to me when everyone's sat down, they've stowed their luggage, they're sitting around with nothing to do. And they kind of give it me in this weird, overly formal way. And everyone looks round with this kind of, what's he getting that I'm not? I want, oh no, I don't want one. But it's not actually that bad. When I go on long journeys, I get to travel only in business class. And actually, recently they've started upgrading me to first class. And even though I know it's just some stupid marketing algorithm that says I'm a target, I feel like they've conveyed on me this first-class status. I am a first-class traveller. And in fact, the first time a couple of years ago I got to travel in first class, I kind of sat down, you know, full two-cheek experience, got out my laptop, got out my iPod, got out my fancy noise-reducing headphones, cranked up, I think it was the Violent Femmes, some really nice punky music, lay back and enjoyed what every frequent traveller knows is the best thing about air travel, which is guilt-free farting. You know, because of the noise and the density and nobody's quite sure who it is, you can just really right? So there I was, sitting back, listening to my Violent Femmes, really enjoying myself, letting a few rip. And I suddenly heard something over the tannoy. And I thought, that's strange, I can't normally hear that kind of stuff. Took my headphones off, and I learned something. First class, better soundproofing, everyone can hear everything. And you saw all these rich people kind of look out and go, oh, those nouveau riche and they're farting. So now I'm faced with a really big dilemma whenever I travel and I get offered the first class upgrade. Do I go for the service, the status, the food, the comfort, or fart in paradise? Frankly, it's still a difficult dilemma I haven't resolved. But you know, to be honest, when I go on business trips, I don't know what you guys are like, I'm typically quite out of control. I lose things, I forget where I'm going. Except for the one moment when I arrive at my hotel room. And I think this is true of every single lone male business traveller. You get into the hotel room, within 2 minutes, I've checked out everything in the minibar, I've connected my laptop, and you won't be saying yes to this, I checked every piece of free porn available on the TV. And just by the way, if that doesn't apply to you, you've got a problem. But you know, I find I do get quite picky with this business travel, you know, with kind of fancy hotels, restaurants, airlines, etc. I found myself on the phone last week to the hotel manager, and I actually got him to agree with me. He was going, yes, Mr. Aaron, you should be able to eat white Toblerone while watching interracial lesbian porn. Yes, I agree with you. And not only that, we'll put it on your Hilton preferences, so every hotel knows that's what you're going to do. But I don't know about you guys. What I've noticed is, when I travel overseas, especially far overseas, I tend to be a lot freer in my behaviours. I don't feel people are judging me as much. I don't feel they've got the same cultural cues. You know, I kind of fantasize, people think, oh, he's overweight, he must be rich and powerful back at home, you know? But, you know, I do feel a bit freer. I don't feel people are able to judge me, with one exception, and that's taxi drivers. Taxi drivers, or should I say intermediaries for every product and service on earth, are brilliant at weighing you up in the 30 seconds you get into their taxi, especially in emerging countries, working out what you want and pitching it to you. I travel a lot to Bangkok on business. And I should point out that Bangkok is a location, not an action, right? But I travel a lot to Bangkok on business. And what I've noticed is, as I get older, the taxi drivers are offering me different things. So when I was in my 20s, the taxi drivers would typically offer me drugs. In my 30s, they would offer me women. But now I'm in my 40s, they seem to offer me men. And I haven't quite worked out why that progression has happened. What I'm really worried about is when I get to my 50s, I think they'll start offering me bootleg DVDs of Antiques Roadshow or something. So anyway, I guess that's why I want to stop travelling and I'm going to start becoming a comedian. And this is my first time. Thank you.
We'll get it back.
Right. It needs tightening up. So.
Well, you're a proper double act, you two.
Right? What?
This is Aeneas, who'll be on later on, so if you are going to heckle, save them up. Right, so I'm going to just bring the next act straight on, but in the end, instead we'll have some shadow puppets. There we go.
Be grateful for what you get.